let's take a little bit step back on the architecture, like when you were first graduate and then you went to the projects. What kind of findings did you find there that then inspired you to go more on the academic side?
Yeah, as I said, as an architect, I mean, architectural studies, they train you a lot to think about the form and the function of space, and also about the relation of the space with people. So it is related to social sciences because it has to do with people, but it also has to do with engineering, right? So all the things that are related to digital technologies and how we're doing things, they're related more on the engineering side of that. So as I mentioned, I was interested in the forms and the final results. So I wanted to have perfect drawings and design nice buildings and so on. But then I realized that I was mostly interested in the process of how the people work together and how this process can be faster and more efficient. And I was trying to seek ways to avoid the very laborious task, not because I was bored, but I really believe that technologies such as BIM, they could make things a bit faster and that more accurate. So we would have more accurate information throughout the process, which means better results at the end. Now, I know that there are no concrete numbers of the benefits of BIM and so on, but from a user perspective, at least from my side, around 10 years ago, I was doing that. I found the benefit. So that's why I'm a believer, because I was very much drawn to that. And I cannot give you numbers, but as a user, I could see the benefits across the whole process. And also, I mean, we wrote a paper with a colleague from the University of Melbourne a couple of years ago, where we analyzed worksheets. So worksheets that's very hard to get data, worksheets of people working in projects. So we could see where they were spending their time when they were working with BIM. And the interesting thing from that was that most of the time it was in creating the 2D drawings out of the BIM. So because this was data on how they were using BIM, and there were different, we had different categories of time spent. So it could be at design modeling, it could be at cost or quantity takeoff, different things. And most of the time was spent into creating the 2D information. So, and this was a couple of years ago. So we are still not used to this 3D. So we haven't made the shift. And the 2D representations, they come to us from the Middle Ages, right? When the great master builders were building, and they were making this modeling abstraction of here is a floor plan, or here is an elevation, or a section, and we still use this language. So this was a communication tool 500 years ago. We still use this language. So because we spent effort to translate it into that language. So we're not really there with regards to communicating with a 3D information model, but I think we're getting there.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. Like in today's construction, when we get those PDF drawings, it requires some level of imaginations to really in your mind to visualize that, okay, how it should look like. Then when you just open the BIM model, then it's like, okay, yeah, it's over there. That's how it should be built. And it's really interesting to see like the difference that when people have worked on 2D very long, and then when they need to, if they get the BIM models in the project and then they should utilize it, then their whole tool set of PDF exchange and all those things move to they need to learn quite new, different tools to utilize it on measurements, or then just looking the space reservations and all these things. And I think it's nice to see that the BIM, even though it's, I think still there's no, as you said, it's hard to say the hours saved or money saved using BIM, But then again, when it goes to the like more forward, it just makes so much more easier to do the revisions, or then especially in construction, more easier to spot the problems and then fix them before we go to the site and we see the building getting built, and then we didn't look this conflict, and now it's we need to solve it on the site, and of course then it's not optimal solution.
Yeah, and I think also it helps communicate. It helps communication among disciplines, because the most frequent problem we had as architects was, we're designing a house. Okay, where do all the services from the bathrooms and the kitchen go? So that was the main issue. When you had to design in architecture a housing, for example. Drawing. So you had all these services, and then you had all this back and forth in the 2D way, all this back and forth with the different specialists, the M&E specialists, mechanical engineering, plumbing, and everyone wanted a different duct, a different pipe hole, and so on. So all of these things. And then if you see how this process takes place now in the 3D way, because people can come together and they can look at the same time, this 3D model it's also helping them understand how the other disciplines work and what the constraints, the design constraints are from the other disciplines. So it's functional, the benefit as well, because they understand more of, what is this services for? What does it mean for the building? What it does for that? So it's not just solving conflicts, but it's also becoming better, it's helping become better in the way we design.